Hello, Will.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. We are going to start on your end.
Okay, thank you. Mike, please.
Hey, Frank, Mike Trudell. On the walk-off for Spectrum, AD's basically said that he wasn't satisfied with the way that you guys as a team played overall. Thought there were a lot of places that things could improve. So despite winning by that margin, what do you take away from his reaction to the game?
I agree with him. Particularly on the defensive end, we knew they were going to be different. And with no Bam, they bring 5 3-point shooters, and their movement offense is very difficult to guard no matter who's in uniform. But we definitely have to do a better job, in particular on the defensive end. I thought we attacked offensively really well. Had one of our we had a poor shooting night from perimeter, but I liked the quality of the shots for the most part. And even having a poor shooting night, we still end up with an offensive rating of 136. So I was pleased with what we did on that end of the floor. Obviously you can always get better on both sides, but defensively we got to be better.
Frank, just wonder what those conversations are like in practice with LeBron, with Rondo about dissecting his zone, and you guys just getting to that level of talking about hoops.
Yeah, just we know the spacing that we want to get to, and it's in a few different alignments. Obviously, a lot of teams don't have 10, 15, 20 different zone offensive plays like they do with man-to-man, but there's a few different alignments we want to get to out of the zone that we feel are favorable to the offense. We got a lot of them tonight, and obviously Doe and Bron and our whole group has a great ability to communicate where the holes are, what they're looking for, and work together in those types of things.
Frank, what were you seeing happening in the third quarter there when they cut that 18-point lead to 9, especially defensively?
In the third quarter, you said?
Yeah, when they cut down, you guys had an 18-point lead and they cut it all the way down to 9, and just wondering what you saw there.
Yeah, this team has a lot of fight, and like I said, they're extremely difficult to guard no matter who's in uniform. It doesn't matter that they have some guys out; they're a deep team. And, with Bam out, they become different from a standpoint of more spacing at the 3-point line, which presents different kinds of challenges. Obviously, Bam is an all-star, one of their best players, but, they become different, with him and Dragic out. And, those guys played extremely hard, kept fighting to cut into the lead. Like I said, we got to do some things better, a lot of things better on the defensive end, but that's what that's what getting to work and the process is all about. Review the film, meet tomorrow as a team, and make some improvements.
Allison?
Start with David Gentleman.
Frank, this is the first time a pair of Laker teammates scored 30-plus in a finals game since Shaq and Kobe back in 2002. What is the way that Anthony and LeBron are able to dominate at the same time? Do they take turns? Do they feed the hot hand? How do they kind of work it out together that way?
Well, they both, and our whole team attacks the defense and reads. You know what I mean? And obviously, they both have the ability to score against single coverage, so to speak. Whatever action you're talking about. But they're both willing passers. So sometimes they're feeding each other. Sometimes they're destroying their own man. And sometimes they're making the extra pass to the open man. Both have that elite ability to score and to read defense. So again, a big reason. Those two were huge tonight, and a big reason for the win.
Dan?
Frank, you guys had, I think, looking at it right here, 16 offensive rebounds, 8 for Anthony. Physically, how have you guys been able to kind of dominate and use your size in this series, and how big of a factor do you think that's been in these 2 months?
Yeah, we got a lot of those rebounds, not even with our big lineup. There's a lot of holes in the zone. That's one of them, being able to crash the boards. And we definitely punished that aspect of their zone defense.
Kyle?
Frank, in those situations where you're losing a lead, I mean, you've been in that position a lot these playoffs and gone on to win a number of those games anyway, turn it back. What do you look for in the groups that you want out on the floor? And to your observation, what's their sort of dialogue? Are they trying to simplify things, or how do they approach it?
Well, each group knows what the strengths are of the personnel that are out there. I think the great thing is we always have either Rondo or LeBron out there to quarterback the action, and make sure that we're seeing seeing the targets and trying to get the ball to guys in positions to be effective. And when you have two guys like that, or one of them on the floor for all 48 minutes, you're going to get a lot of good action. So I credit those guys.
Go back to Dan for follow-up.
Frank, this league, by and large, has gone small in the last decade or so. Why has going large worked for you guys and being big?
Well, we haven't necessarily gone large, big, used the word large. We're a hybrid team. We play all season long, half the game big lineups, half the game small, and then we have the ability against bigger teams to play more minutes with a big lineup. We have the ability to play more small lineups against smaller teams when that's needed, like you saw in the Houston series, like you saw with a lot of tonight's game. Dwight started, but he was very effective in his minutes, and that's the biggest thing is our ability to be a hybrid.
All right, we're going to go back to Will for the last few.
All right. Yeah, Frank, I'll have a couple more for you. Bill Orm.
Hey, Frank, you indicated in your on-court interview with Rachel that offensively for AD in that third quarter is probably about as good as it gets. I'm curious what you've seen from him kind of throughout this postseason run from him in terms of his confidence and his aggression, and what kind of growth you've seen in his mindset as you guys have gotten deeper into this.
Well, you said the word right there. His mindset is he wants to be a champion, and he's extremely motivated to play at a high level, and you're seeing it every time he steps onto the floor. Obviously defensively, he's a unicorn, in my opinion, the defensive player of the year. But his shot making, the many ways that he can hurt you offensively, in the post, rolling to the basket, working the baseline like he did against his own, working the middle, shooting threes from the perimeter. It's just very unique, and you can just see his determination, to win this championship on both sides of the ball. But I thought tonight you saw even more on the offensive end.
Sierra.
Hey, Frank. There was 3 or 4 possessions in the second quarter where Rondo ducked into the middle and was able to create offense either for himself or for somebody else. Was that something that you guys instructed him to do, or was it something that he kind of just thought up on the fly?
No, it's one of our looks against the zone, just to put him in there. We want to put playmakers in the middle. If we can get the ball there and suck the defenders in, it opens up the perimeter, it opens up the rim, and obviously you want great decision makers in there. So Bron, AD, Rondo, all those guys being in that spot benefits our offense.
Frank, I'm going to take 2 more.
Hey, Frank. You went to J.R. Smith tonight after he had been out of the rotation for a while. I was just wondering, what you saw from him and kind of what the goal was with getting him out there tonight.
Yeah, just Danny was battling a hip injury, and he and Kenny were playing well, but we're struggling a little bit from the perimeter. So was just looking to see if we can buy a few minutes with JR because of Danny's injuries, and obviously he carries that threat to knock down a 3 or a few threes, and I just like the threat of him being out there against his own.
Hey, Frank, because LeBron and AD are playing so well at this point, there's already a bunch of chatter about who would win Finals MVP if that were to happen. What's it been like watching both of those guys play so well at the same time on this stage?
It's unbelievable. The way that they work for each other, but both of them, like you said, playing at such an elite level, both of them extremely determined to win a championship. And, we're not there yet. We have a long way to go. This is a very resilient basketball team that we're playing, a team that just flew through the East with a 15-3 record. we have great respect for them. But those guys are playing at an extremely high level, and hopefully we can get 2 more wins.
Thank
12
you.
and 3. Been a long night.
Good on my end, Frank.
I'm going to finish it up with Calvin.
Jeannie was in attendance tonight. I know when the game starts, it's all kind of all business, but is there any sort of, I mean, you said the other night you wished her happy birthday, said we can't wait to see you. Did you recognize that? Was there any exchange through plexiglass, so to speak?
No, not tonight. I knew she was coming to town. I wasn't sure what day she was going to get here. But we definitely missed Jeannie, and excited to get this win for her.
Alrighty, thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Will, we will start on your end.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Hey, LeBron, Mike Trudell in LA. I believe you would have just finished your junior year in high school, 2002. Kobe and Shaq both go for 30 plus against the Nets. Game 3, the finals. You, of course, were then drafted the next year. You and AD, it's the first time Lakers teammates have done that since then. Just wondered if you were like your thoughts on the Kobe Shaq dynamic and kind of what it's like going through a game like today with AD, especially at a similar level of efficiency.
Obviously being in high school and watching the Kobe Shaq duo, it was the most dominant duo that I have personally seen in my life from a basketball perspective. Hadn't seen, obviously, we knew the force that Shaq brought to the table, but the elegance and force that Kobe played with as well. They were very dominant in what they did on the floor, on both sides of the floor. So to be in a conversation with those 2 guys, myself and Anthony, myself and AD, he's going to kill me. Myself and AD, it's just very humbling because, I know I grew up watching those guys. I grew up admiring Kobe, obviously, for, kid coming straight out of high school. So, admired that kid that was young and got the opportunity and obviously the force that Shaq played with. So just very humbling. And we're happy that we can be even mentioned with those greats.
LeBron, both AD and Frank kind of indicated that they, even though it's a win, they weren't totally happy with how things went today, defensively, especially Frank had mentioned. Do you agree with that? And if so, what concerns you about what happened with the way you guys played?
I definitely agree. And myself, coach, and AD was not happy with our defensive presence tonight. We know we can be a lot better. And we're just from myself and AD, we're not satisfied, and with just the win. We want to be great. We want to be great. As close to 48 minutes as possible. And I know I said it after game 1, but I'm extremely excited to watch the film tomorrow as well as a group and see ways we can be better. We're playing against a very dangerous team in Miami where they have 5 guys on the floor that's a threat, as they've shown tonight. So we have to continue to stay on our P's and Q's and cross our T's and dot our I's throughout the course of the game. And just, if we have a breakdown, being able to cover for one another, but they do a great job of putting your defense in positions that you may not be accustomed to. So we definitely was not happy with our performance defensively tonight. And hopefully we can be, we know, not hopefully, we know we'll be better in game 3.
Allison?
LeBron, if you indulge me on the Kobe Shaq line of questioning, obviously Shaq, big close presence, a 5 as much as a 5 can be, Kobe perimeter, all that. You and AD seem to have elements, maybe a bit of both of their games. I don't know if you would agree with that, but if you do, could you describe how maybe both of you are a bit of a hybrid of what those guys brought to the court?
Well, I guess if you look at the sense of the size and the power and the speed that Shaq at his size played with, you could look at my game throughout the course of my career and say that. And then you look at the elegance and the ability to shoot the ball and the ability to play in the paint as well, post up, get to the perimeter. I guess you can say that you can have some of AD's game that can compare to Kobe's game in that sense. Obviously, we're all four of us with all different positions. You know, Kobe was a natural two guard. I'm kind of I don't know, whatever position. Shaq is a center, and AD is kind of a hybrid as well. So, but I guess all four of us, we have a winning mentality, and we just try to make enough plays out on the floor throughout the course of the game that will benefit not only ourselves individually, but for the most important thing, for the better of the team. And I can't even believe that we, up here talking about myself and AD with Kobe and Shaq. I mean, it's an incredible thing.
In the third quarter, you guys had an 18-point lead, and pretty close to that point, the Heat had timeout, and UD was talking to the guys and really fired up. And at that point, it seemed like there was maybe a turn in momentum, and they started attacking aggressively. What do you know about UD that makes him impactful to a bench of players like that, even though he himself is not playing in the game?
Just check his resume. It's that simple. I mean, he's put in the work. He's been there. He's been through everything that the Heat franchise have seen. He's seen it all. He's done it all. I mean, just check his resume. So, and he's it's not many guys that talk about it and also be about it. He's one of them. And if you want to be in a foxhole, that's somebody you want to be in a foxhole with.
Dan?
LeBron, you used the word force probably 6 or 7 times in the first 2 answers today. How important has your team's ability to play with force made a difference in these first 2 games?
Well, I think I was talking about force because Shaq's name came up, and there's no way that you can talk about Shaq and not that word come up. From a team's perspective, I think we've done a good job of, one, not turning the ball over, but also still being able to play with force, as you would say, play with tempo offensively, get good looks, get looks that we like, make or miss, and live with the results. Now, we have to play with that type of force defensively, but also from a cerebral side as well. From, thinking the game a little bit better as they're going through their offense and their pace and their force as well. So we got to be a lot better, obviously, on that side.
All right, y'all take a couple more. Andy Kamenetsky.
Hey, LeBron. When you guys advanced past Denver, Frank was talking about the relationship he has with you, and he said that the buy-in that you had with him as a coach and the immediacy of that buy-in did a lot for this team and where you are right now. What was it about Frank that gave you that immediate buy-in and that you gravitated towards quickly?
For one, from a competitive standpoint, going against Frank's teams in Indiana when we had our battles when I was in Miami, you understood how well those teams were coached, and it starts, with the head coach, and the players are an extension of the head coach. So I had that memory of that, just battling those Indiana Pacer teams. And for me, I've always been a coachable player throughout my whole life. I've played for multiple coaches, and I've always been a coachable player. So, the respect, more importantly, he's the head coach, and the head coach should have the respect from all his players, no matter who you are, if you're really serious about trying to make an impact or really trying to do something special. So, it was just that simple for me personally.
Allison, back to you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I think you guys can actually go ahead if you like.
Anthony, you and LeBron, AD, you and LeBron are the first Laker teammates to score 30 plus in a finals game since Kobe and Shaq did it in 2002. I asked LeBron the same question. Are there elements that you see of both Kobe's game and Shaq's game in your game, and both Kobe's game and Shaq's game and LeBron's game? And if there are, could you describe them?
Those two guys are obviously special. That duo is special together. The best duo we've seen. Multiple championships, but they both are so dominant. I know they had a little sit down. They was talking about they were arguing because they both want to be so dominant. They both want to be great. They both want to win, and that's why they kind of gelled together outside of everything else that you might have heard that they were going through. But those two guys were selfless. They both had a competitive spirit with themselves to will their teams to win. And I think me and Bron's the same way. We're two guys who want to win, no matter the circumstance. We both want to. We both want to to make sure that we do whatever it takes to help our team win. And when you got two guys that's selfless, and it's not gonna always be pretty. Sometimes we're gonna argue. Sometimes we're gonna have disagreements, but we know it's coming from the right place. But when you got two guys who want to win as bad as we do and want to be dominant every single game, you have games like tonight. Where two guys able to score the basketball, able to rebound, and able to find guys. So it's rare you see it. We know we have something special with us too, and with this team. We just try to capitalize on it.
Match up the pair, you guys and them. Who's Shaq? Who's Kobe out of you and LeBron?
He's Kobe because he handles the ball, and I'm Shaq because I play in the post.
Frank was saying no matter who Miami has in their offense, they're just really tough to guard and obviously put up 39 on you guys in the third quarter. What about their offense kind of forces you guys into uncomfortable positions, and where do you feel you guys can make growth in 2 days?
They just play so free. Everybody's moving, everybody's cutting, everybody on the floor is live. Everybody just kind of do random things. So it's tough for the defense. You really have to talk. You really have to communicate. You really have to know what schemes you in. And they put a lot of pressure, on the defense. For us, we got to do a better job on, communicating on the defensive end and being in coverage. Talking in the coverage and making sure guys know what we're in. We can't, assume somebody's going to be somewhere. We have to talk and relay the messages and the defensive schemes and the calls to one another, so we know that. So we let the other guy know what we're in, so we don't have too many hiccups and too many mistakes. In that third quarter, we had a ton of open layups, a ton of open threes, and they made us play.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah. All season long, the message has been stay in the moment, don't look too far ahead. But here you guys are, 2 games from the goal that you guys set for yourselves at 12, 13 months ago when the season began. How important is that stay in the moment message for you guys, specifically right now in this?
It's huge. I mean, this team has shown, in both games that they're able to, fight back. Even when they're down 20, 30, whatever it is, they're able to fight back and make plays. So we can't get too high, especially with this team, and they didn't even have their, 2 of their top scorers, 2 of their best players. So they always had that next man up mentality, and they come and they play every night. They play hard, play physical, they play aggressive. And so we came in tonight and said this is a must-win for us. We're going to come in next game and say it's a must win, and the next game's a must win, and so forth, so on and so forth. So we know what this team is capable of. I think they had 4 guys or 5 guys, 15 plus. Guys coming off the bench, scoring, playing well. So we have to lock in on those guys and show them respect as well, which we do. But this team can play, and we have to be wary of that and just make sure that we come in and get better in our defensive schemes, which is going to help us win.
You guys have obviously figured out how to compete at a high level in this weird environment, but I wonder on a night like tonight, your agent, Rich Paul, is here, Jeannie was here. You got family members of different players. Are you drawing any energy at all from the folks off the floor, or is it something different where it's the hardwood and that's it?
We don't even. It's kind of dark over there, so you don't really see them. I'm not sure if they're allowed to make any noise or anything like that, but we really bring energy from ourselves. Our bench does a great job of bringing us that energy. Cheering for us. I mean, you see all the animations our team does on the sideline. JR, Dion, Dwight, JaVale, all those guys are coasters. All those guys are the first ones up when we make a big play. So that's where we kind of get our energy from within each other and go out there and play as hard as we can. When you got a team like that who's always cheering us on and celebrating when we make big plays, you find a little bit of extra energy, even when you're tired. I know sometimes when I'm running up and down the floor and you might get a little winded, and I see them guys cheering us on, yelling, screaming at us. You find that extra energy to do whatever you got to do to help the team win.
Yeah, I'll take a couple more. Tanya?
Hey, AD, you mentioned earlier today just the concept of it's not always pretty. Sometimes sometimes there are disagreements and arguments a little bit, but the ultimate goal is positive, and that's why that's not a big deal. I wonder if that kind of played itself out today during the game. Were there moments when you and LeBron were disagreeing about something that was going on, and how did
y'all see?
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we just try to both hold each other accountable. We both want to be great. We both want to dominate the game, and we had some blown coverages on the defensive end, and we're both frustrated that we had multiple coverages that were blown tonight, and we just all piling up, and we kind of just had that moment, put it behind us and just kept playing. So, like I said, it's not always pretty, it always seems like everything's good with me and him, but we do have our times where we do yell at each other and we do argue, but we know it's coming from a good place, so we get over it quickly and move on to the next play. But they're just two guys who really want to win and just have a love for the game.
All right, the last one for you, Mike Trudell.
Hey, Anthony, just wondered what Miami is doing is really trying to keep you guys out of the paint. You were able to get there regardless, maybe some on the offensive glass. But what does it take discipline-wise to not just take the threes against the way they're trying to play?
It's tough because we're open a lot. They want you to shoot the three, and our shooters were a little bit off tonight. But we hit some big threes to kind of keep that lead. But we're doing a good job of getting in the teeth of the zone and finding guys. And we're going to continue to encourage our guys to shoot those shots. If you're open, there should be no hesitation whether you should shoot the three or not. No matter if you're 0 for 10, 0 for 8, whatever. We want you to keep shooting, because we know those shots are going to fall for us. And when we get it in the middle of the zone, this team likes to run zone. So when we get in the middle, it's about making the right read. Myself, Bron, and Rondo usually in the middle of the zone, and we're either going to find our shooters or have layups or find a guy that's going baseline to baseline. So when we get in the middle, it kind of open things up for us. But it really opens up when our guys are making shots. And like I said, we're going to continue to encourage those guys to shoot. Whether you miss 4 or 5 in a row, we have to make them honor that shot, and they're going to fall for us.
Thank you.